Right. Right, what I'm doing, I'm streaming a live fan faction Archipelago tier list creation. Yeah, just gonna tell some people about it. Alright, I hope that someone can tell me this is working because I've not done this for a while. So, yeah, so maybe join the chat and then, say hi. That'd be nice. Um, yeah, so just got back from holiday, 2 week holiday. Find that I'm just in time to sign up for the new series of the Madness League, and to find that not only is Kingdom of Ember being included for the first time, but also it's on the Archipelago map, mm, which I designed, which is really exciting. Um, really exciting. Also, absolutely mad, but that's the Madness League for you. So let's. I thought that as someone who spent a fair bit of time playing on the Archipelago map, designing the Archipelago map, I might have some useful information for you all in advance of this season. So that's what I'm going to do. So I am going to do that in a form of a tier list. Live created tier list. But quick, before I start, a little bit of background information on the Archipelago map. I designed it, um, and I hope you can see it in the top right corner there. I designed it as something for quite experienced players to play, to have a lot of fun with. I designed it to be a kind of like real like fight, knife fight in a phone box type stuff, real like competition for hexes the whole time. Um, and that's what it does. That it does that, and so everyone starts on the west of the map, basically. Most factions start on the west of the map, and they kind of travel east as they go um, towards the end of the game and go onto these smaller islands. But it really benefits factions who are good at digging, particularly good at digging, because they can just sort of stay on the west often, and it really benefits factions that get a lot of benefit from leech because you get a lot of leech on this map. It also really benefits, um, really like rewards you thinking a lot about your placement and what you do in the first round or so. Like you really, yeah, you can even more than usual. You really can kind of like ruin your game at round one, round zero. So yeah, good fun. Excited to see everyone try it out in the Madness League. The other thing that I tried really hard to do when I was designing it was to design it to be good for, to be balanced for the 14 base factions, I've worked really hard on the balance. Especially, I was trying to get each color really well balanced, so that, for instance, for Fakirs and Nomads, similar kind of level strength. Darklings, Alchemists, similar in the strength level. Some of those I've succeeded more than others. But yeah, we are going to but what I didn't do, what I explicitly Void did not try and do, was to balance it for the Fire and Ice factions. Even though I love the Fire and Ice factions, but I just didn't try. The map is a weird shape, and I just thought it was going to be too. It's a kind of it's a crazy map, and it was going to be too hard to try and balance it for those kind of game breaking factions. I also didn't try and balance it for the fan factions. They were still in production when I designed this map. So this has led to some interesting stuff. So I'm not going to bury the lead. I'm going to go sort of color by color, terrain by terrain, and I'm going to start with, I think, the most kind of um, problematic, I think, terrain, which is the volcano terrain. And I think all of them are in first tier. I think this is based on playing a few games with the Dragon Lords and a few games with the Acolytes. Um, they just really are suited to this map shape. Um, I would say so. They just love that kind of a big body of land on the west. And so generally, I think they should do really well. So I think they're OP on this map. I'll be honest. Um, I think Firewalkers will be too. I mean, they're arguably OP anyway. Um, for the same reason, Kingdom of Ember. They've changed massively recently. I've played a few games with them. For the record, I think they're maybe very slightly weak now, but they're pretty well balanced actually, very slightly weak. But on this map, even more than the other three, actually, I think they will have a lovely time. Their biggest challenge is to get two starting spots from which they can expand and have both have neighbours or get close to neighbours. Um, and they should manage that here. They should be able to just dominate the west of like one or both islands, and they might even actually then be able to connect them, which I think is the next biggest challenge for them is actually connecting them afterwards. They might be able to do that. So connection, by the way, is generally really hard on this map. But yeah, I think Kingdom Remember will be able to just stay in the west with at least one of their starting structures and do well. So yeah, there we go. I think they're all right at the NES tier. All right, let's have a look. Let's go another color. Let's do green. So yeah, so for example, I worked really hard trying to get witches and Auron to be similar strength, which is difficult because like Auron basically have just no special powers, right? Um, and so, but what I did do is tried to make it so that there's an easy early town, which works well for them, then get the two key town key for them, and you can get an easy early town with green, for instance, like E2 to I3. You can there's also one up here, C6 to A4, but it's quite hard to get three towns, which means that for witches with their special powers, kind of like diminished a bit. I still think witches are a little bit better than Arrow overall, but I think they are actually pretty close, so that's nice. I'm happy with that. In terms of the new two fan factions, however, yeah, Chash, I don't think this is going to play that well to Chash's strength. I think that you want to. There's opportunities to expand quite quickly in round one, which doesn't really work well with like they're kind of not going to be able to use their special um, track income track very nicely. I think also their stronghold led by power actions. I think there'll be a lot of people buying a lot of power actions because everyone gets so much leech. So yeah, I think Chash quite far down the pecking order there. On the other hand, Enlightened, they are going to love all that power that you get, all the leech you get. and I think that possibly puts them up into S tier. This is just a guess, but I reckon that just that extra leech is going to push them straight up to S tier. So that is, yeah, that's what I think about the green factions. Moving on to yellow. This is one where I do think I did manage to get Fakirs and Nomads roughly equalised. I think they're actually both quite strong in the end. Yeah, Fakir, I mean, they love this G5 to I5 bit down here. C3 is also nice. You get a lot of leech there. Um, and Nomads, well, yeah, Fakirs can then connect later without much problem. Nomads often struggle to connect, but they can often do pretty well anyway. So yeah, I think Nomads are still pretty good. Um, I think that the two other factions are going to be pretty good too. I'm tempted to put them all in A tier actually. Um, so Archivists, again, that G5 to I5 is going to be nice. Um, and yeah, if they can do that, and where else are they going to place their first hex? Maybe first dwelling, maybe C3. Do they connect? They both might struggle to connect. That might affect them more than it affects nomads, maybe. So I'm going to put them. I'm going to put them B two. I think they're going to be pretty good. Right. Next color, blue. I think this isn't an amazing map for blue. I tried to explicitly make it hard to do seven structure swarmlings because I don't like seven structure swarmlings. So there's no really like straightforward blue towns to be had. Um, So yeah, there's a lot of mediocre places for them to start, like okay place for them to start. G4, um, C8 or A10 are good for their sort of second town, if you like. The yeah, G6 can be nice and can be annoying for everyone else. C5's good, but there's nowhere amazing. So yeah, so that's good. That puts me in C tier. Eric, yes, I'd love to see a tournament later on this map with only base color factions, only base game factions. Yeah, as I say, that's what I designed it for. So in Wonderful, yes, I did. This is a map I created. I designed it specifically to make the 14 base factions work well and be balanced. And I'm like, this could be hubris. It hasn't been tested load. Like, we won't know until we play like thousands of games on it, which hopefully we will. But I think I've done pretty well actually at making it quite balanced across the 14 base factions. But I think some of the other factions are just not balanced at all because it's such a wacky map and it just kind of stretching like the limits of like how Terra Mystica should play. So yeah, that's why I've put all these volcano factions up in Esther. I think it just doesn't work for. It's just they're too strong on this map. Um, right. So yeah. So I think Swarmlings and Mermaids are both C tier. Yeah, Mermaids can do. There's a lot of places where they can get two hexes for one dig, but many of them are over in the east where they don't get any neighbours. Everyone starts in the west, and their best hope in the west, like G4, and especially if Green are not in the game, then G4 is okay. Or C5 equally, but still, they're only okay on this map, in my opinion. Some people think they're a bit stronger. Maybe they are B tier. I don't know. Swarmlings are also decent. They might both be B tier. I might be being a bit harsh. I don't know. I do think that Wisps are B tier because I think it works well for like I think a good Wisps game plan is to forget about connection and just find three towns. And I think they should be able to find three towns quite easily here. And I think forgetting about connection is very is a luxury, a very nice luxury on this map. The connection is so difficult to achieve while also having expansion. I think Wisps will feel play very freely, ignoring connection, and just like yeah, I don't know, doing G4 and C5 maybe, and then kind of using a stronghold to hop over to like A10 and getting a third time over there, something like that. So I think they'll do all right. Atlanteans, I worry about. I think they might really struggle to find good place to start where they can both where they can kind of expand and get like leech and neighbours. And I think they'll struggle to get a second town very easily. I've played them on here a couple of times. I just it's not been that easy. I'm going to pop them in the D tier. Right, kind of, oh, brown is interesting. So, one of my explicit intentions of this map was to nerf cultists, um, and I managed possibly too well, I think. So the best places for brown to go are in the east, E6 to E8. It's a nice stretch, but you don't get any neighbours there. Everyone else building in the west, and cultists obviously need neighbours. So that's kind of a bit of a challenge for them. Again, I4 to I6. Might get neighbours, might not, but again, that's a decent place for Brown to go, but it's not great for cultists. B3 can be good. Snake. Fakir's A even landscapes. Yeah, and again, I didn't design this to be balanced with landscapes. And with landscapes, Fakirs are probably overpowered as well. Um, yeah, I think on this one, so I think cultists, yeah, I mean B3 and D3 are decent options, but B3 you just never connect from B3. You think you might be able to looking at this map, but you just can't. Someone will be on C4 on like round one, turn one if they're not, if they're not already. I mean, I don't know. I guess you might get lucky if you're playing before um yellow or black or blue and blue. If you're playing before yellow and blue and black aren't in the game, yeah, maybe. But anyway, um, option of it is cultists D tier, which I think a lot of people would quite enjoy. um, Halflings, on the other hand, are probably C tier. I think they can cope better with going on I4, I6, or E6, E8, and like expanding early. Not worrying too much about having loads of neighbours, but just getting those dwellings down, getting their work economy going. What about the two? Uh, cultists becoming the hipster pick. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it is fun trying to play with the cultists on this map and like maybe starting B3 and forgetting about connection, or maybe starting B3 and trying to hack across like B4, A5, A6, connect with D3. I don't know, or even try and connect B3 to I4, like via a very long route. Like it's fun to try. Um, so then you've got, I think time travelers probably can afford to do something like B3, I4, and then just not bother connecting and play relatively tall, and still get a decent score. Not score from the track and don't score from network. So I think they're okay. I don't know if they're B or C. Probably still C. On the other hand, prospectors, I think because they're kind of quite fire factiony. Um, I would say, yeah, I don't know if people have heard this theory before, but I think prospectors are like play quite like a fire faction, volcano faction, and for the same reasons they're good, I think prospectors will be good. So they sort of don't, they can afford to kind of ignore the color wheel a little bit more, and they can afford to like dig through, just like blast through a large landmass, and they'll do that here. They might be okay, so I'm going to put them on A. Right, there's some. Yeah, hi Snake, Paddy, Azarito. Yeah, look, a lot of chat about me putting cultists for D tier. Um, Paddy saying any map that nerfs Brown is good in my book. Snake, I don't think it's physically possible to create a map where time travel is better than cultists. Yeah, do you know what? I might, you know, I might be wrong on that, but I promise you, cultists are tricky. Here. Yeah, Zorito, I4B3. I think if you play the play on I4B3 is to not bother connecting, right? And like, um, yeah, that's you can do that, and you can do that and give up on network. Can cultists do well without network? Um, they can do okay, right? Maybe, but they're not great. Can they do? Like, is that enough to drop them below time travelers? Maybe not. Maybe I'm going too far there. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. If anything, probably time travelers would drop to D tier. I really do think cultists are quite bad. Snake, surprised by Wisp being greater than mermaids and swarmlings. Um, yeah, I could be persuaded to move mermaids and stormlings up to B tier. I think some people do think they're quite good on this map. Um, I think it does play to Wisp's sort of three town no connection game plan a bit better. Um, but yeah, they might actually be B tier. I'll move them up. I'll move them up. There we go. So let's talk about uh, the black fractions. So yeah, I don't. This one I don't think I succeeded in making them kind of equal strength. I really what I tried to get. You can see that alchemists have some nice shipping on two shipping in the east, but again they have the problem of like no neighbours in the east. So I would say that they are probably C tier. They're not bad. And you know it's so hard to make a map like this not great for Darklings because it's maybe similar to kind of the Prospectors. They can just sort of throw priests at the problem, and as a digging faction, they can just like punch through to other black hexes on this isle on these land masses, and just kind of they can get all the leech and sort of find a way to connect. So I think they are still pretty strong, probably A tier. They're not OP, but they are one of the stronger factions, I'd say. Um, as for goblins and children of the worm, goblins, I don't know. I mean, I've not played them since they got nerfed actually, so I don't know how good they are in general. But they can sort of play a bit like alchemists, can't they? They can go shipping early. I mean, they. I think it's not. I'll come back to this with the treasures. I don't think it's great for factions who are like delaying their expansion that much because they sort of get crowded out. They might be C tier as well. Children of the Worm, however, I played a couple of sort of test games with them on this. I think they're OP. To like all of the stuff that they like to do is like double good on this map, right? So they will be getting those 2 for 0 leeches all day long. Just they'll be sitting on like F4s, F3 C4 or something, or like I don't know, H3, whatever, C4. So that'd be great for them. They'll be getting cheap dwellings. Yeah, that's one thing where they might have a problem, I suppose, if they sort of go shipping and go into the east, and they might not get the cheap dwellings, but they'll be getting fair number of cheap dwellings. And also, if they ever kind of get crowded out, they can build their stronghold and sort of snake out that way. So think I think they'll be pretty good. S tier, I might I might find that that's a bit too strong. That's a bit too high in that really. I should be putting them down to A tier, but we'll see. I hope so. Okay, Grey. I think this map isn't great for Grey. I think it's challenging. You've got this problem if you're engineers, you almost always want to start H5 with Grey, but then with your second dwelling, you start F2 or D1. If you start F2, you'll probably connect, but you might end up losing the North Island entirely to red or green if they're in the game, or even yellow might sort of block you out from it. So I think it's challenging. So I think engineers are kind of C tier. I mean, if you can blast through G5, then great. Um, right. Before I finish on that, Snake asked a great question, which do you think this map rewards Earth 1 more or less than other maps? Um, so yeah, um, I think that, yeah, you can just get so much leech that I think you can afford to get Earth 1 and round 1 more often than in other maps. Is generally my thought. Like if you think you're able to use that leech effectively, then yeah, I do think you can get Earth 1 round 1 more often in this map. Um, Zorito, Elite and Fighting High post nerf, they're close to hour and okay, I've not played them post nerf. I've not really paid much attention to the nerf actually. They just lost a bit of power from a bunch of their dwellings, is that right? Um, the reason I put them so high here is purely because of the amount of leech they'll be able to get. Um, But if they're a bit if they're a weak faction in general, then maybe not. Maybe they should actually be A tier. I don't know. Um, they lost extra power from cult steps. That's the biggest thing. Yeah. Okay. I don't know. I think they'll get plenty of power. Is the point. My point. But yeah, they might end up being A tier. I don't know. We'll have a look at the whole thing at the end. Right. So where was I? Grey. So engineers. Yeah, I think they're C tier. I think Dinian Gifa will also be C tier because they're going to struggle. It's generally quite hard to build three towns on this map. It's not by no means impossible, but it's a bit of work, and four towns is even harder. So that's kind of yeah. I mean, and then that's generally part of the Goats game plan, right? To try and build plenty of towns. I think they'll struggle to do that here. They, having said that, like they will maybe not miss the neighbours as much as everyone else in the east, but yeah, maybe they're B tier, maybe they're B tier. Not sure. Conspirators, I do think C tier. All right, I'm gonna I'll put them B tier as a veto. Let's compromise. And then dwarves, I think are B tier as well because they can kind of avoid that initial placement issue. They can go H5 D1 is generally a pretty strong opening, or D1 or B2. And then they can usually connect. They've got a few different routes to connection, which is nice for them. Right. Red factions. I really enjoy playing giants on this game on this board. No, thanks for the comments, Avita. I need the help. I've been out of the game for a bit, so yeah, I need all the help I can get. Right. So giants, really nice. D2 and E4 is a really nice starting spots for giants. They can do loads in the middle here. Then E4 is just like they can start expanding early. They can get a town, maybe connecting to D5, for instance. They can get a third town, um, all sorts of places, maybe southeast. They can expand. Basically, they can pick off a load of red hexes. They start D2 E4. They can get like maybe nine of their like red hexes during the game, which is just so good for them. Should be able to get three towns, um, which gets them up to like possibly. I mean, they're still C tier. Let's be honest. It's fun. They're fun, but like they're not. They're not suddenly become amazing. And because people are getting Earth one round one, the chance of them getting Earth one is pretty low. So I think they are still C tier. If I'm honest, Chaos Magicians can be really good. They're probably B tier. It's a bit hairy. Getting like they have to start on like they basically have to start on D2. And just they can generally get E4, but if they don't get E4, then it can be a little bit painful. But if they do get E4, they can have a lot of fun. Um, so that's where those two are. Now then, I think architects might struggle a lot here. Like you can't really see many places where they can use their special power here, right? I know that's true on a few of the maps, Moon Lakes in particular. But really here, I think it's the worst map for them. They can go E4 to G7. Um, they can sort of, if they get to kind of H8, they can get a couple of reds from there, but it takes a while to get to H8. I think I've sort of tried starting on I9 with them before. It was okay, but again, you're out of the action down there. So yeah, I think that might be D tier. Treasurers, did they get nerfed treasurers in the last round? I can't remember. They, I don't think this map's great for them because sort of you have to secure territory early. They're still obnoxious. Okay, so I expect that they're pretty decent on this map too then, but maybe only B tier. I don't know. That'd be my guess. I think that they all struggle because you just have to like by the time they kind of get their engine going, a lot of the good stuff will be taken, and they might get boxed in. Like not just the good stuff. It might be that they just they won't have the town spots even if they're like triple digging. So um, I'm thinking maybe B tier. All right, down to the crazy guys. So we'll do the ice factions first. I feel a little bit more confident in these ones. Yetis, I think, are going to be good. Um, they'll be able to use that power. They'll get loads of power. They'll be able to use it really well. Um, so A tier. And hey, Luke. Yeah. Similar to Chaos Magician. The treasure similar to Chaos Magicians, but start with two basically. One. Yeah. Yeah. You're right. So I think that's probably like fair. You go kind of go D2 E4, and then you just put everything in your safe, and you just sort of hope that you've still got town spots by the time you start kind of upgrading and digging. Right. So Yetis A tier, maybe even S tier. But I don't think it's an amazing map for ice factions in general. Don't know why I think that. Yeah, I think Yeti's A tier though, just because of the power thing. They could use that leech they're going to get. Ice Maidens, I think C tier. There's not loads for them here. Selkies, I don't think Selkies are great on this map. Um, they struggle to. I mean, different colours might be different. I've maybe only played them on like a colour like maybe I played them like yellow or something terrible. Yeah, but yeah, like as you say, it depends a lot on what color they start on. I could do a different tier list for each color or something, but yeah, I think Selkies. Yeah, and maybe I played yellow Selkies and that just went horribly wrong. Maybe if you play them on grey, they'd be pretty good. Maybe they're C tier. Snow Shamans, I think, would be all right. Actually, yeah, they'll definitely want to get up to three. Like you definitely want to advance our shipping and digging on this map. Um, and they may, I don't know about how many clusters they'll be able to get, but they should be able to get a decent number of separate clusters in the east towards the end of the game. So yeah, um, yeah. I'm getting into the realms of hypothetical here. Let's see what people are saying. Eric, architect's got a tasty temp ship dwelling rush. Yeah, right. What with double dig? Um, yeah. Uh, what you start kind of I don't know where you start, like D2 and E4 or something. Um, yeah, that could work. And just you won't be able to use you'll either be able to do that or use your bridge ability for my 9, I think. Mm. So yeah, maybe they're okay. Maybe they're okay. Maybe I'll put them up to C2. I don't know. Not got many people in D2 at the moment though. Maybe I'll drag time travelers down there. Um, so where are we? Right, we just got Snake. Selkie can play pretty tall, which seemed pretty good on this map. My only win with them was no stronghold, 10 structure sandwich. Wow, okay. Selkies can play really tall, can they? Um, I've not seen that, but I will take your word for it. And yeah, maybe that will help. Um, and yeah, ice on brown, Zarito says. Ice on brown. I guess. Um, yeah. Um, Not for Selkies, but I would have thought, but maybe for like Ice Maidens or something, that could be good. Right. So now we get onto the variables. Uh, I mean, this is great. I mean, I think geologists, I think they're OP in general, and Snap is no exception. They might be even worse because they can just run riot on these distant continents without even having to advance shipping, which is the thing that's hard for them. So I think they're going to be really strong. Um, Changelings, they're also kind of quite OP, and this probably helps them too. I don't think they're quite as S tier. I might put them A tier. Um, I don't know. I think they can get trapped a little bit more easily, and this is a map where you can get trapped. So yeah, I'm not so confident that they'll be amazing. Shapeshifters, I think, are yeah, they like large land masses. I like playing them on fjords. So, but I think they're also a little bit. fragile because you get because once they change color, you can kind of dig one of the hexes straight away, and that might happen on this map because there's a lot of competition for hexes. I think I'm going to put them at A tier. Riverwalkers are the most interesting one, and I've left until last because I think that if Riverwalkers are in the game, it changes everything, and like you maybe even start like changing where everyone else goes on this tier list because they drag the center of gravity to the east. I mean, they're depending what color they are, but they're basically not going to start on the west. I mean, what like maybe if they're green, they start like C6, B7. Um, maybe yeah, they can't really start um further out than like further west than like the eastern edge of these continents. And even most of that is outbounds to them. Like depending on what other colours in the game, they might be able to start on like yeah H6, C6, maybe B6, G6, maybe I6 if they're brown. So yeah, they can start on there. Then the other starting dwelling will be somewhere in the east, and that starts pulling other colours over there, right? So if you've got, think of an example, but if you've got Riverwalkers starting um, E5, then maybe that means that suddenly um, the brown faction, like cultists, can start D3, or yeah, you've got yellow or red starting there. You may have like alchemists being or darklings being more like start G8 or something. Yeah, this kind of thing. Engineers starting G7, and that pulls everyone east, and that makes some factions better than others suddenly. Uh, but I don't know in what way. I'm not even going to try and guess. I think how good they are depends on how many factions they can drag to the east with them. I think they have quite a lonely game if they're kind of on their own in the islands, but then they do then block everyone else off. I think games with the Walkers in will be crazy. I'm probably going to pick him in one of my games just so I can see it. Maybe I mean I do anyway, so maybe I'll pick him in like all of my games. I don't know. My instinct is that they are going to be B tier, which is annoying because it puts them into another row. But um, that's where I'm at. So that is the tier list. Anything look crazy? 21. I think people are still skeptical that Cultists are D tier. Um, I don't know. They're pretty hard to play. Feel free to play them and send me your scores, send me your games where you've had a good game with Cultists on this map. I'd love to see it. Um, I think, yeah, I hope I'm wrong about Atlanteans as well and Architects. Um, yeah, I really hope I'm wrong about the volcano factions. I love volcano factions. I think especially I've had a large hand in the two new ones, and I think they're both a lot more enjoyable to play with and would play against than the original ones. Um, so I hope that they don't. I hope this doesn't put people off either of those factions. If you play Kingdom Ember on this map and like, oh, that OP or whatever, then just remember it's this map's fault, not their fault. um, yeah, Enlightened sounds like maybe they won't be too OP. Children of the Worm, I don't know either. Yeah, we'll see. We will see. Um, yeah, I hope that's been useful. We can chat a bit about Kingdom of Ember as well while we've got a bit of time while we're chatting here. So yeah, I don't know if anyone's played them yet. So the new faction, the new design. You have to like the whole priest thing where you just put a priest back in the box and that allows you to put a lava tile on something. That was like a pretty bad design, I think, in the original one, and that's been changed to you have to upgrade next to whenever you upgrade one of your structures anywhere on the board, then you get a lava tile, and that's really nice. It means they have to play much more nicely. They can't like go off in a corner on their own. They also can't go off so quickly. Them and Firewalkers have much lower chance of being able to like just box people in on round one compared to like especially Dragon Lords, which is really nice. Really weird, intricate, like round one situation though, where because you can't move a tile that has anything other than a dwelling on it. So if you upgrade this one, then you can put a lava tile under this one. But then if you upgrade this one, you can't put lava tile under that one. So like whichever one you upgrade first is basically stuck if you're opening two dwellings, unless you well until you build a stronghold. And I love the stronghold design. I think it's great. It's like allows you to suddenly put lava tile under built structures other than dwelling. Just two of them, just two. Um, but yeah, that helps you to get going again. Or if your first turn you get a spade, which is normally going to be the spade tile if you're on seat four, or in seat one if you can get a power tile and then buy the spade, which I think is worth doing generally. So yeah, it's a weird kind of fiddly round one, but I think they're quite fun to play now. They're going to take a while for people to figure out. I think it's good to play them in a turn-based sitting for a few times before trying to play them live. I tried to play them live. I took almost twice as long as everyone else, but it was really good fun. Um, they're also not great with the extra final scoring, but we're not having that in this season. Um, Luke says Archivist are like COD, struggle for network points expansion. Cool. Glad you agree. Snake thinks that D tier seems accurate. Good stuff, Faddy. My Firewalkers buddy. Yeah, still think we did a good thing there, Faddy. And Dave and Luke and everyone else was involved in that design. But yeah, I think I'm enjoying playing with them. Um, yeah, I think we'll stop there. I'm really looking forward to this crazy season. Um, and I want want everyone to be giving me loads of thoughts on the map as we go, and like especially on like how the different fan factions work on it, and yeah, whether my worst fears are going to come to pass regarding some of those in the NES tier. Thanks so much everyone for joining, and yeah, good to be back. See you on the archipelago.